All right. Well, welcome everybody. Sorry about all of the technical difficulty.
It's okay. It happens.
Janaya, you're gonna have to watch everybody else eat Skittles, I guess. Does everybody else have Skittles? You guys can unmute yourselves quick or nod your heads, those of you who have video.
I'm at home. I have them over at home.
All right. So those of you who have your Skittles, you should have your Skittles out because I think those are the only supplies you have left, right? You have a Skittles and you maybe have like a pipette, right? Possibly, sort of, kind of.
Y'all got to respond.
Lee, I can only see like
Yeah.
the top part of your head. If you, I don't know if you can adjust your camera at all. And then
Wendy?
Eker, I can.
Hey,
Eker's,
Wendy and Eker, you guys got to adjust your camera so he can see your products. You got to adjust your camera so you can
and
see.
your faces. Eker's like in a really dark room, it looks like. But there we go. All right, so take your stuff out. Take your supplies out. Take out your Skittles. Take out your cups.
She is simple.
All right, she is. All right, those of you who have the supplies, then what I want you to do is find at your houses, if you have one, I want you to find a mug or even a cup or a glass, I guess, but I have a mug just because you can hold on to the handle. And you're going to put hot water in it, okay? Hot water. Sound good?
I got Skittles right there.
You guys can go do that quick. I am going to get out my Skittles.
That is sweet and sour kind. Some kind of that. They go get a. What's the other chip rack grade for you?
Stop that. Okay. All right, Lee, do you have your stuff? Just want to double check that that's not the right one either. Where's the actual, okay, there we go. Everything turns off when you have to restart it.
Mug.
All right, so if you have a mug, you can have one. Otherwise, I want you to be putting your Skittles into your cups. I have two reds in my one cup, in my first cup. I'm gonna put 4 oranges in my next cup. Let me know if you don't have enough of the various groups because we can change your colors around if it's not gonna work that way. But so I have 2 reds in one cup. I have 4 oranges in another cup. My next cup, I believe, will be my yellows. I'm just gonna double check, and that's gonna be 6. Yep, 6 yellow. So I'm gonna do that. Right, 2, 4, 5, and then there's that one stuck together, so I'll get a different yellow here. All right, so if I have 2, 4, 6, and I went red, orange, yellow, what's the next closest color to yellow of the 2 colors that I have left that I haven't used? Oh man. Brooke is in Georgia and she doesn't have her supplies, that's okay. How about, so I do have Kyra, which maybe is 2 siblings, but it might just be the one. Oh man, now I sound like a robot.
I know, and I hate that.
Lee.
It's better.
Okay, Lee, can you move your
Wendy.
screen? Because I can just see like the top of your head.
Oh, I didn't get the Skittles, so I'm
Is that
just gonna watch
Is
you.
it just set that way? Okay, because I kind of want to see how you're doing, or at least like lift them up so I know like you got your reds, you got your oranges.
She didn't get it. She didn't get one.
Oh, okay. So Eker, I guess, do you have your reds in a cup, 2 in a cup, and then 4 oranges in a cup?
Yeah.
All
I just
right.
put it in the water.
And then 6 yellows in a cup. Don't put the water in yet.
I
don't have a
And then Janaya, what's the closest? So in regular Skittles, there is she there? Yeah, there she is. Okay. There's red, orange, yellow, green, and purple, right? If we were making a rainbow, what's the next closest color to yellow? Out of green and purple, they're the 2 that are left. Which one
Lime.
is closest to yellow?
From your
Lime, exactly.
I
So
wasn't listening, and I'll put it
our
in.
green. There you go. Perfect.
I messed up.
Why did you mess up?
Cause I wasn't here for the part where you said put the Skittles in the cup.
Oh, well, you need separate cups for the Skittles too. You need like
Oh.
one cup for the hot water, so you didn't mess up that way. You need one cup for the hot water, and then you need different cups for the Skittles. But I don't even know if you got the supplies. Did you get the supplies?
Yeah, I only have the Skittles.
Okay.
Mr.
Well,
Brian, I
Skittles
don't
are
have
okay.
a plunger thingy.
You have a plunger?
I don't have one of those things that you, those,
Oh, okay. Who's saying that? Is that Kyra's brother?
yeah.
All right.
Corbin.
Well, if you have a spoon, we can do it. We can try to do it a different way. It's a pipette,
Alright.
not a plunger. But you know,
Oh.
plungers are kind of for bathroom toilets. But anyway, at least that's what I think. All right. So if I did 2, 4, 6, what's the next number in the sequence? Some math here. Anybody can
8.
answer. Even Eker
8.
can answer.
8.
All right. Who said 8?
8.
Okay, well, dang. All right, so eight. What color was it again? It was lime, so 8 greens. Going in my next cup. 4, 5, 6, 7. I got a little piece of orange in this one. I want to get it off. All right, 8. So I got 2 reds, 4 oranges, 6 yellows, 8 greens. What is my next number? You guys are middle schoolers. You know the pattern now. What's next?
10.
10. What color? What color is left?
Green.
Yeah,
Blue.
we just did green. We just did green. It's purple. It's purple.
Oh, sounds close.
All right. So if you have that many of those different colors, that's a good thing, and you can do it that way. If you do not have that many, but you still are doing the lesson with us, let me know, and we'll adjust it. 4, 8, 10.
I don't know if none of
Is there anybody who? So I know. So Lee doesn't have the supplies. Brooke doesn't have the supplies, and we can't see Brooke's face. Kyra's brother. That's how he'll always be known. What's your name again?
Corbin.
Say that one more time.
Corbin.
Gordon. Okay. Do you
No,
have
Corbin.
Corbin? Oh, sorry. Okay. Do you have enough of? Because I can't see your screen. Do you have enough reds, oranges, yellows, greens, and purples?
I think so.
Okay. So 2 reds in a cup, 4 oranges in a cup. I should be lifting them higher. 6 yellows in a cup, 8 greens, and then the last one is 10 purple. So it's basically you and Janaya and
You
Eker
cut out.
against.
You cut out. I can't.
I don't have any.
Oh, you don't have any? Janaya, you don't have anything? Okay, so you don't even
No.
have the Skittles? Well, then your hot water's not really for anything then. All right, so
Yeah.
2 reds,
Okay.
4 oranges.
Okay.
Eker, you can nod along with me as long as, just to let me know that you have those things too, because I can't see where your supplies are. 6 yellows.
Okay.
All right. 8 greens.
6 yellows.
So we're going 2, 4, 6, 8, and then 10. So 6 yellows.
8 purples.
Nope, 8 greens, if you have them. If you have them that way, that's the way we want to do it. But if you don't, we can move things around. If you have 8 greens, and then at the end, you would have to have 10 purples to do it the way that I'm going to try to do it.
And
All right, Corbin, you could turn on your camera, and I could like visually see how you're doing.
okay.
Not to make you uncomfortable, but then we all know how it's going for you and what stage you're at. All right. So
And
do you
hot
have?
water.
Yeah. So wait, do you have 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10 before we get the water?
Yes.
You have all of your Skittles in cups?
Yeah.
And you had 10 purples? You had enough for that? 10 purples?
Yes.
Okay, great. Yes, you can go get a mug of hot water.
Okay.
Like something like this, or a cup is fine too, but if you use your plastic, it might melt at first. All right, Eker, do you have a spoon? It doesn't have to be like this spoon. It can be any kind of spoon, but just go get a spoon. Sweet, awesome. I should have told Corbin to grab a spoon. He's gonna have to run back and then do another one. But Iker, you could start right now and we'll just do it twice. What you're gonna do is your spoon has to be the same measurement for each cup, right? So I'm gonna do all of my cups here. I'll get a little bit lower, right? I'm gonna do 2 spoonfuls in each one. So I'm gonna do 1 like this. I have it. And then I'm just gonna pour it in there. 1 again. I'm gonna do it. Pour it in there. And if your water is not hot enough right now, like if it got too cold, then you can always go back and get hotter water. But again, it has to be the same level. We don't want to give extra water. So just 2 spoonfuls of water. All right, Corbin, I'm going to explain this to you because I just explained to Iker. And people who are watching at home later can just get it twice. So Corbin, you need to get a spoon. I have a measuring spoon. It doesn't have to be a measuring spoon, but just whatever spoon you want to grab. One that you're gonna be putting water from the cup into your other cups, okay? All right, so go ahead and run and grab that.
I already have it.
Oh, you already have it, okay, great. All right, so you're gonna do the same amount for each cup. I only want you to use 2 spoonfuls. Can I see your spoon?
This one?
All right, that's fine. So you're gonna try to get the exact same amount though. That's what we wanna do. So we wanna do 2 spoonfuls and try to get it like the same level roughly. And then you're gonna pour it each one, like pour in the first one, pour in the second one in each cup. You can see my red one is starting to melt off the colors in my water. That's good. I'm gonna put that one to the side. I already did my orange one. So now I'm doing my yellow for the 2. You're just putting it in there, and then the warm water is going to kind of remove the color from our Skittles, right? So this is a density lesson as well as it is a trying to make a rainbow lesson. So 2. And then once you're done with that, it looks like Iker might be done with that. He's just gonna sit. I'll move this a little bit out of the way so this can be on the screen now. 1, 2. All right, so we know about density, right? As you guys are working. Those of you who are not working, like Janaya Lee, can answer so many questions, and Brooke, if she's listening at home, I don't know, or in Georgia on her vacation. So we know about density, right? What's density?
Phone or something.
Or something.
Archie Brook on your another computer, laptop, something on another screen. Archie Brook. See? You ain't doing it.
Yeah, she just turned it on and it's
No.
gone.
I already know. I know what she's doing. She gonna hear.
So Janaya, what is the word density? Like you've heard the word density before. What does that kind of roughly mean?
That.
Okay. What if I was gonna say something is more dense than something else, what does that mean to you? Or to Lee, if she wants to answer something too. We're just, seeing the top of her head right now. So. Oh, there's Brooke. She's alive. Didn't die. That's good. So anybody, but preferably one of the 3 who are not actively doing the experiment because of reasons, and that's hard. What does density mean to you? Like if I say I've got something here and I've got something here, this thing is more dense. What does that usually mean?
Bigger?
Say that again. I couldn't quite.
Bigger?
It's bigger. So yeah, it can be bigger. It's also kind of like it's heavier, right? If we think something is more dense, like you could say, like even 2 things that are the same. Like, have you ever heard that joke? Like, what's heavier, a pound of bricks or a pound of feathers? They're the same because they're both a pound, right? But density is more like what you're thinking about when you hear that joke, because you think like, oh, the bricks is heavier, right? Because you're just thinking about one. Like if you took a handful of brick and took like a handful of feathers, the feathers are going to be lighter, right? The bricks are going to be heavier. But even if you made it so they were the same weight, you have to have way more feathers because feathers aren't that heavy. But a brick, to get 1 pound, you maybe only need 1 brick, right? Or even half of a brick because it's pretty heavy. So density is more like how thick or how heavy something is in the same amount of space, right? So if we used 2 spoonfuls for all of these colors, but some of them have more Skittles in them and some of them have fewer Skittles, which one is going to be more dense? Our one with 10 or our one with 2? Anybody can answer this one, not just Brooke. We're not just putting Brooke on the spot. So
Which one?
I've got I've got one with 10 Skittles in it, and I've got one with 2 Skittles in it, right? And remember, density is like kind of how heavy, but also how much of in one space you can kind of fit something. So there's more of something in the same amount of space, right? There's the same amount of water in both the cups, but one has more Skittles in it, right? And so that one's gonna be more dense. Does that make sense? And because we are melting the sugar and the artificial coloring off of it, this one is going to have more density in its water, right? Because its water is gonna be like a thicker version of the coloring and of the sugar that is coming off these Skittles. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So far, so good, kind of, sort of, right? All right, another way to think about density is like, if we have water's like our normal density thing, like that's kind of like natural. Remember if we did that, when we did that dry ice experiment and I changed the colors of the water? Some of you might remember that. Yeah, so when it got, like, so water was our like pH neutral. Water is also a good way of thinking about like density. It's like the normal, it's the regular level. If you throw something that's really heavy into a pool, it's gonna sink, right? If you took like a big weight and you threw it in there, it's gonna sink, or you took a brick, it's gonna sink. But if you took a basketball or a soccer ball or a life jacket, you throw it in the water, it's not gonna sink, right? It's gonna float because it's less dense than the water that it's in. Lots of those things are filled with air, not a life jacket, but like, well, some of them are, I guess. But like those other things, like those balls are gonna be filled with air, they're gonna float to the top, right? Because the air that's inside them is less dense. And so overall it's less dense than the water that it's in. Does that make sense? So if you like jumped into the water by yourself, you can come back to the top. If you jumped in the water and you had like a big heavy backpack on and you had a lot of stuff on you, you'd be more dense. So you'd probably sink, right? It'd be a lot harder to stay on top of the water and to not drown. All right, that's density. Our stuff is melting, right? What we want to do, we wanted it to cool off just a little bit. I guess in the meantime, we only have 2 people who have Skittles. But I was going to do like 2 different kinds of versions of this, but the other one I only came up with last night. So you guys might not have the supplies for it. But if Iker and, oh man, Corbin, sorry. I don't know how many Skittles you want. I know you want to save some Skittles to eat on your own in a little bit. But if you guys have like a plate, like a round plate with, see how this kind of goes in? Like this, if you have one of those, what I was going to do, you guys don't have to do it, but I was going to try to do is I'm going to make a little circle of Skittles here. And then I'm going to pour more of that hot water, and we can also make a different kind of rainbow in our plate. If you had like a white plate, I think it shows up better, but I don't have a white plate that has this kind of design. So, but if you want to try that with me, you can. If you're like, you don't have those things, Iker's already expressing his hesitancy. But I'm just gonna make a little quick thing while we're waiting for our liquids to kind of cool off a little bit. All right. So how I would do this one is a rainbow. This one doesn't have anything to do with density. The other one had to do with density. This one just has to do with like the melting of the stuff. So you can do it different ways. You can do like colors next to each other, which is what I'm going to try to do. And then you can kind of get them together. What we had like reds over here. So like 5 of each maybe. We'll see how that works. We got to get the yellows next to the greens. And all my Skittles are like stuck to each other. 3, there's some purples in there. You could also just do it randomly. You could just throw these in a container if you wanted to. But I want to do it a fancier way. Did Iker say something? Yeah, did you say something? No? Not taking credit for it? Janaya, are you sad that you don't have the ingredients for today? You could be eating.
You can't eat.
I mean, yeah, you could be eating snacks, but I don't know. I guess your grandma was just like, no, none for you.
I thought she said she had some Skittles.
I thought she did too, but Janaya's like, I don't have it. I don't have it.
It's at home.
No,
It's
I
at
thought I said
home.
Skittles over there.
I'm not at home.
Huh?
She's not at home. She's doing chores.
She ain't doing no chores. She don't clean up.
I do.
Ouch. Ouch, ouch. All right, I'm going to move up to 6 of each, I guess. I don't know if you guys can see what I'm doing, right? I'm trying to make a little, like a little rainbow thing. People could, you guys could do this on your own at home later if you wanted to, or another time if you buy a bunch of Skittles yourself. But I'm organizing them like this. You could just put them in randomly, and then the colors are going to be, maybe you get like individual colors, but not as much as a rainbow. Let's see how warm my water is still. I don't know if it's still hot enough. I think it's warm enough, so we'll try it. So we're just doing this while we wait for our other stuff to kind of cool down. Ooh, I'm gonna spill it everywhere. Maybe a little bit more, okay. All right. As it melts, I'll move my cups out of the way so I can get this closer so you guys can see it better. But yeah, so the other one that we're waiting on to finish is a density one. This one is not a density one. This one is just a color one. You guys see that?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so you can start to maybe see it's harder because my plate is blue instead of dark. You're right, but you can start to see like the colors starting to go.
Cool.
There's other ways you could do it where you do like every other color. I just decided to do it this way because I'd never done it before.
Mm-hmm. I see, that's cool.
But yeah, I know. So it slowly over time bleeds through. You can watch like Facebook or YouTube videos of it, and then they speed up their videos, so it like is happening a lot faster. But I guess this is real-time speed. And again, I think it would look even cooler if you had not a dark, yeah, if you had a white plate, so you could really see the colors a little bit better.
I have a white plate.
Well, if you want to use some of your Skittles on it, I'm not saying you have to because I know you guys want to eat. You guys want to eat what you got. But if you wanted to try this sometime, you certainly could, and you could explore it yourself. You could put them all in randomly. You could do every other color, or you could do like purple, red, green, yellow, orange, purple. You know, just do the same like pattern, 5 and a 5 and 5, and you'd see like little tiny versions of it instead of I kind of have big globs of color. And the orange doesn't show up as well in the in this one. I think the purple, because it's a dark plate, and the red show up really well, and the green is pretty good. And then the yellow and orange aren't quite as dark because my plate is already a darker color. But yeah, that's what that looks like if you guys want to try that. We are going to move forward now with the next part. So we got Eker, and we got Corbin, who's going to have to do his a little bit differently because he's just cool like that. All right, you have your extra cup, right? You have one extra cup, right? Like a cup that doesn't have any water in it, a plain cup. You guys might have a tinier one. I guess I could use this one too, right? Yeah, I'll use this one. All right, so you should have a plain cup like this, right? All right, so this is gonna be our end cup where we're gonna try to put our rainbow in here. We're gonna try to do it, we gotta do it slow though to try to make it work. So this is our leftover cup. We're not trying to get anything else in it besides the watery juice stuff that we have, but we have to do it in a certain order, right? So remember, our stuff should look pretty, you know, it should look like we've got a lot of our color off. You should just see like kind of white candy in there, floating in there, and then like you should see the colors at this point. And I guess cooler water is more dense than hot water, which means it's less likely to mix for us. So, you know, or to mix with the other colors. So that's why I wanted to cool off for a little bit. So which one is our most dense liquid? Remember, density is the one where you can fit the most stuff into the same amount of space. So which one is our most dense out of our 5 colors? Anybody can answer, not just the 2 boys who are doing it. But if they know too, that's good. Remember, density, we talked about fitting the most amount of kind of things, or making it the heaviest in the same amount of space. So which one is the most dense?
Which one is the most dense, Brooke?
Just back on our vacation.
Mm-hmm. Brooke, that let you know she ain't paying attention.
Janaya, you know, right?
Which one is the most dense?
It would be the one that we put the most stuff in, right? Because we use the same amount of water. We have the same amount of water in each of them, but we have more Skittles in some than we have in others, right? So density is going to be, or the most dense is going to be the one that has the most amount of Skittles in it, because then it's going to have the thickest amount of sugar and color, right? So it's the densest when it comes to talking about the color, right? So which one, and now definitely the people who are doing the experiment should remember, because they have the cups right in front of them, which one did we put the most Skittles in?
The purple one?
The purple one, exactly. All right, so the purple one is gonna be our first one. So if you have this, which I think only Iker does, and then Corbin, we're gonna have to do it a different way. You're gonna have to use your spoon again. But if you have this, what I want you to do is, it's gonna be really easy for the purple, for the first one, because we don't have to worry about it mixing with the other colors. We have to do it slower with the next ones. But all you're gonna do is suck it up and then put it in your new cup like that. So I'm gonna change my screen so you can watch me do it. Corbin, you are going to do the same thing with a spoon, and you're gonna pour it in your new cup, but you're going, in the first time we don't have to go that slow because it's just the one color. The next colors, we're gonna have to go a lot slower though. We have to be more careful so we don't mix them. And I don't want you to, with your spoon, I don't want you to put any of the white stuff in there. None of the candies, just the sugar water, the colored water that's sitting in, right? You might get some like white flecks that melted off of it. That's okay, but like, see these big candies? I'm not trying to put those in there. And it will be harder for Corbin because he's using a spoon to do it. But that's what I want you to be careful about. If you have any of the white candies, you got to push them back. You got to take them off the spoon and put them back in the first cup that they were in. Also, if you want to, you could try eating one of those white candies just to see what they taste like now that all the color is melted off of them. I'm sure the white ball still has a lot of sugar on it. So
They're gonna taste the same, wouldn't they?
I would think so, but I'm not going to taste it. So but lots of times kids are more interested in knowing what things taste like, especially if there's a potential of it still being candy-esque. I would think it would taste the same, but just like maybe it's like less because it's had some of the sugar removed, even though the color and like the color is all removed, but I would think it would still taste pretty sweet, at least. All right. So we just have, so far, we just have the one in, right? We just have the one color in. Iker, is that where you're at? Okay. And then Corbin, how are you doing? Are you here? We have one.
I'm good.
Okay. So you have your one color like this?
Yeah.
All right. So Corbin, you're gonna have to be very careful for the next one. So don't quite start yet. And Iker, you're gonna have to be careful. Well, we all have to be careful, right? But so now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna suck it up out of the green. Don't quite do it yet. And then instead of just shooting it in, if I shoot it in, it's gonna get all messy. It's gonna get all muddy. It's gonna mix together. We have to very carefully kind of drop by drop, push it against the side of the cup here. And I want to do it close into the purple, but I don't want to do it in the purple, right? I want to do it just above it. And I'm going to drop it on the side, and it's going to kind of drop in. I'm just going to do like one little drop at a time. So it's not going to take forever, but it is going to go slower than the last one, because the first one we didn't have to worry. So Corbin, you're going to have to do a spoon. You're going to just do a little bit, but again, you're going to do the same thing. Push it against the side and see if you can get that to, you know, to work with your spoon. So it will be harder for you probably, but it's good to try to do it different ways. I have done this a way before where I wasn't doing it up against the side and it didn't work, where I went too fast and it didn't work. So hopefully by waiting, by going slow, by pushing it up against the side of the cup, slowly adding our second layer of color. And again, it's the green layer because that's the one that has the next most, right? That's our second most dense because it had 8 Skittles in it. All right, so now I gotta go get more.
Brooke, are you asleep?
Oh, Brooke's asleep.
Miss Bates, Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Well, how many times I call your name?
Uh-oh.
Like twice.
Like twice? Are you
Yeah.
sure?
Yeah, maybe.
If I called you twice, why you didn't answer?
I was trying to put my mute button on. Or
Nah. Why we can't see you?
I don't Mom.
Sleep. Your head down. You sleep.
No.
Something going on. We can't see you.
Mr. Brian,
Yes.
how much longer on this experiment?
Yeah,
for
I know
them?
we got started late. So how it would work, boys, I guess, because you're the ones who are doing this, is we just add one layer after another layer. We might have to kind of, because we are going slow for this part, we might not have the time to do it. But I can even tell right now, I have a green layer on top of my purple layer. I haven't put as much green in yet, so that layer isn't as big, but you can see there's a separate layer there, right?
Just separate a little.
So I'll try to go a little bit faster with mine. You guys can keep on taking your time until you have to go to your next lesson. If you get tired of squeezing colors in, and Corbin is doing it with a spoon and he's just kind of slowly pouring on the side, or he's not doing it all, you can feel free to take some snacks out of the one, like take some bites out of the candy that you have that you didn't put into the water, because that leftover candy is for you to do with what you want to do with. Corbin will probably have to make sure his sister doesn't steal it from him. Corbin, is your sister here? She's not doing the lesson.
Yeah, she's right.
Okay. Do they have another class then, Miss White?
Yep.
All right, what time do we need to finish this one at?
We didn't finish it at 11:35.
11:35? Oh, so we're 10 minutes over? Okay, well. Then I don't think we're gonna finish. But if you guys see, you can see that, you can tell that green layer is on top of my purple layer. You can see this bottom part is purple and this top part is green, right?
Yeah.
That's what we're doing. If we don't have, we might not have time, but what would be my next color to use? I'd put the next lightest color on top of my green, right? What's the next lightest color? Is yellow, because I had 6 yellow, right? And then after that, I would use 4 oranges as my second to last layer. And then my last layer would be the 2 reds, right? So how I want to do it is heaviest on the bottom, and it goes up to the lightest layer, right? And the heaviest is whichever one I use the 10 colors for, and then the 8 colors, and then the 6 colors, and then the 4 colors, and then the 2 colors, right? Because 2 is less dense than 4. So 2 is going to sit on top of 4. 4 is less dense, or sorry, is less dense than 6. 6 is less dense than 8, and 8 is less dense than 10, right? So that's why we're putting them in order. If we put them in the wrong order, they get all mixed together and muddled up, and it wouldn't end up looking as cool. And then for those of you who want to do it at home, again, or follow along, putting it against the side and then just kind of dribbling it in slowly makes it work a lot better, because I've just poured it in before and it doesn't work nearly as good. So yeah, anyway, this is Rainbow in a Glass. Looks like we won't be able to finish it in time. Don't drink it, I guess, if you're gonna make it at home, or to Iker and Corbin. It's a lot of sugar that you just took off of, and a lot of food coloring you just took off of the, or artificial coloring you just took from the Skittles. I know it'll taste sweet, but just don't drink it.
What is that?
What's it?
That was Skittle water. Janaya is showing you her water.
But Janaya doesn't have. Janaya, I thought you didn't have. I thought you didn't have the Skittles though.
She has Skittles. These ones.
What? Well, that you can do the same thing. Why don't you? You've been telling me this whole time that you don't have.
I told you, I heard her say she had Skittles.
It's all messed up.
And she was like,
I messed because I used all the red ones.
well, so you can do it the other way. If you just have to do like the 10, 8, 6, 4, and 2. I think you can do it with 10 red ones if you want.
Okay.
If you want to mix with the colors. I just do it this way because this is how I learned it. But again, you can see there's my purple, my green. And so now I would add my third, the one with 6. And for me, that's yellow. You could pick a different color, I guess, if you wanted to. So I don't think it's the color. It's just putting it in order, right? 10 is the biggest number, so 10 goes on the bottom. Then 8, and then 6, and then 4, and then 2. And then you got to do it this way. You're putting it against the side and slowly kind of letting it come out.
Okay.
Well, Janaya, I would have helped you along. I didn't know this whole time that you were.
Okay.
Because you said like, oh, I left my supplies at home.
Okay.
Anyway, do you guys have another class to get to? You guys can get to that if you need to.
Okay. I'm in the chat, everybody.
I do want you to say, I do want you to
don't
say
do
it
it yet.
again, because we talked about it several times and it would maybe took some work to get the answers out of you. But those of you who have been asked by Miss Collins and myself several times now, what do we think density is again? Or what is density?
Brooke, look at her. She still don't know. Look, I called her name 2 times. Look at her. Brooke 3 times. Look at her. Now she is.
How big? Like, is it big or heavy?
Yeah, it's like more dense is like heavier in the same amount of space, right? So you could even think about, if you want to think about a person, like if 2 people weigh 100 pounds, like we're thinking kids, but one is like 5'5", and the other one is like a kid who's growing up is only like 4'5". The one who's shorter is gonna be more dense, right? Even though they weigh the same. Does that make sense? Right? Because their weight is not spread out as much. It's more dense. But I like, or that, like I said, like that pound of feathers and a pound of bricks kind of argument, right? If you had the same amount of bricks and feathers, the brick would be heavier. And if you had the same weight, the brick, you'd have a smaller space of it, right? Because it's more dense. Because it doesn't take as many bricks to make a pound as it would take feathers. All right. So we learned some density today. Brooke learned it, right? For sure, after being quizzed several times. All right. So you can see I have a purple layer, and the yellow looks like it's kind of overwhelmed my green layer a little bit, but I have a purple layer and I have a yellow layer on top. It's hard to see what happened to my green layer. I don't really know. I would keep on going. Again, if you guys gotta turn it off, that's fine. My next layer would be my 4. And again, Janiyah, it could be any color. I just did it with orange because I just thought it was easier that way. But whichever one is the 4 would be the next one. All right, so Ms. White, if they gotta go.
They do. They have a class that's already waiting on them. Thank you,
All right,
Mr.
sure, I
Brian.
understand.
Thank you for your summer help this summer with us.
You're welcome. Have a great summer, guys. Keep on doing homework, reading on your own. Don't beat up your little siblings. Do chores. See you later.
Bye.